It's Dean Pappas, aka Bob the Grown Up, aka Baby Socrates, with another episode of Crypto Grown Ups. Today, I want to talk about the Faketoshi Circus. This is an article that CoinDesk has out today. Really, it's a well-written article. It talks about the newest Faketoshi, Bilal Khalid, aka James Khan. And the good thing is we all know that the guy's bullshit. He used some old domain that he happened to own, and then took this complex mathematic, very, very super involved story to sit here and try to explain why he deserves our attention and our respect for what he's building. And the only reason I care about these Faketoshi reveals and everybody trying to steal credit, to try to act like they're Satoshi Nakamoto is, one, I think that it's going to be a continuous challenge for getting new people into crypto. People are used to trying to understand, what's behind something. Like as human beings, we look for direction from the creator. We want to give credit. But most importantly is we just don't feel comfortable with things. Like, ever since the ancient Greeks, we've always given reasons behind phenomena that we can't explain. So it's going to be a challenge for onboarding new people. And as a community, the more we resist these fake guys, it helps. But at the same time, it's going to be a continuous struggle for new people coming into the space. And look, if Satoshi is alive, we're probably not going to hear from Satoshi anytime soon because, what's the point? Like, it threatens the project. There was a lot of work to stay anonymous this long. The only time we're ever going to find out about Satoshi is whenever this person or entity wants to move their coins. Then we'll all know for sure, because it's going to be very hard to pull those coins without alerting 10 billion people. But some of the motivations for why you would want to fake being Satoshi in the first place, one of them is definitely going to be fame and fortune. Again, this guy, right? James Khan. We all know his picture now. We all know his face for eternity because he did this well-publicized, fairly, circus level complex story, and good on him. Now he's famous. I don't know what that's gonna end up doing, but thank God it's not gonna be any damage. He tried to pitch a new coin. None of us give a shit. So, but that's a motivation, right? And then you've got the more sinister version, right? Which is of course the well-known Faketoshi, Craig Wright, and this could have been a danger. I mean, it ended up creating a fork and then a fork of a fork. And, he was able to convince people who might have, history might have been completely different for Roger Ver or for Jihan Wu. If this guy didn't try to, he was on a roll for a while, right? He didn't, in the beginning, he wasn't trying to make super duper claims. He wasn't trying to pull out mountains of evidence, and people were sitting there maybe. And that was the mistake this guy did. He had some history. He had some history. They even bring it up in this article. It's on Bitcoin.com. You don't need to not the best domain in the world, but trust me, this article is not that bad. It brings up a few people like this guy, LaRue. This would be Quentin Tarantino's version of Satoshi Nakamoto, somebody who was in drug smuggling and encrypted software, as it says right here, 21st century biggest badass. This guy's got an interesting story, right? And there are a lot of people in this list that are definitely worth mentioning. Even this poor guy who just because he had the name, I can't believe someone at Newsweek thought that they discovered hidden gold because the guy has the same legal name. His name's Satoshi Dorian Nakamoto. Anyway, this is the best picture of Craig Wright you're ever going to see. I love it. When I saw this, I fell in love with it. I'm so happy that it's on Bitcoin.com. So yeah. The there are a lot of people, and he was a legit, and this is his partner who had died, and then there was a whole like court case, and anyway, long story short, it can be a social attack, or it could have been. At this point, it's not likely. Why is it not likely anymore? Because the evidence, the date, like time has passed. So being able to have something in the past to be able to pull out and be like, well, look, I registered this or I had done that at the time, that's going to decrease over time. So I don't think we're going to see any more like real threats to social attack threats of this vector, where they can like try to claim that their Satoshi, so their version, their vision of it is legit. So that's a good thing. I think there is still another vector that's possible, which is the religious angle. Somebody could come along and really claim that it was created by some sort of entity, and I feel like that would have legs. Why not say that God made Bitcoin? And then, maybe even, or like, I don't know, the Church of Scientology could come along and try to be like, this was part of our creation story. When people need an explanation, they'll go to crazy lengths. So, could that be a threat? Yeah, because you could get a lot of people to rally behind a religious group. There's a few articles here that, talk about Bitcoin being a cult and that fiat is a religion, but it's an attack vector that I think is weakening over time. I think Craig Wright was the strongest attack that we would have ever seen about somebody trying to impersonate Satoshi. And if you ever want to get into some detective work, going down the rabbit hole, these 10 are very valid claims for it. There's a mention at the bottom of the article. Again, it's not a bad article. They talk about how you could look at Satoshi's writings. He's probably British. There's over 80,000 words. You could do some version of stylometry to try to connect it to somebody else. But as time passes, the likelihood we're ever going to find out who Satoshi are decreases exponentially. That's for sure. And then I don't want to finish talking about the whole mystery around Satoshi without at least mentioning Hal Finney. A lot of people put Hal Finney in the most likely camp, and there can be a lot of arguments, but what's not arguable is Hal Finney's contributions to Bitcoin. Hal Finney was the first person to do a transaction with the creator. And a lot more than just that. Always a pioneer for privacy and freedoms. So if you really need to find somebody to give credit to, give it to Hal Finney. If you really need to have one of those kind of moments where you're looking for inspiration on working in the blockchain industry, look to Hal Finney. I think that's the best thing we can do as a community, instead of getting wrapped into this Faketoshi circus. As a group, we can all agree that Hal Finney gave the most, and that's a great way to not only give honor to his legacy, but also to stay away and decrease the likelihood of these social attacks. And that's it for me for today. So yeah, take care, everybody, and see you next time.